You know, some machines I get attached to and some machines I don't get attached to. Some machines I'm attached to at the beginning and then I'm not attached to them at the end. And I've had a couple, like the little 7-inch Southbend shaper I had. Was a sweetheart little machine, but it really it didn't match up to my 1908 rebuild that I did and the workmanship that I put into it. Even though it was newer, it was more modern, and it had a few other features and stuff like that, it wasn't as old school. And I hated to part with it, but I still did part with it. And I'm going to be parting with this. This is the typical Southbend lathe, and lady came to the door when one day, and she told me about her husband passing away, and she asked if I'd like to come over and look at it. So I did. I went over and I looked at it, and of course her scheduling, being here on the Cape and everything else, only allowed me about 20 minutes a day, a couple days a week, and I dismantled the thing, carried it out of the basement, reassembled it in here. Since I went through some of the essentials on it, I pulled up the motor that was put in here, changed out, and I put a 3-phase back into this thing. That's what originally came with it. Should be. And anyway, I've been using the thing, and I've been, you know, originally I had it in my mind that I was going to go ahead and restore this thing, just like I have my drill press, my K&T, and the little 9-inch Southbend that I started out with, and some things like that. But it's just not going to happen. The avenue and things that I'm getting into and everything else, I'm satisfied with what I have. And for right now, this machine here is going to give me some capabilities like the metric and this and that. And then also even John Saunders kind of gave me a little spark there. He said, hey, how would you like to go ahead and make this into a CNC? Meaning be able to have a CNC but also be able to have it manual. Now that would be the sweet setup. I don't know. I'm giving some thought. We'll see. I don't know what the budget would allow, but maybe we'll play with it. But I'm looking into Shooting Star right now about picking up one of their 2-axis readouts to go ahead and put on this thing. And I want this to get going because I actually want to put a little time on it. And Nathan Robbins has got a project, an axle, that I'm going to do for him, and I want to do it in this machine. So I'm trying to really get it into motion here. So with all of that excitement there, letting go of this lathe, it's not so hard. And I'm giving a real nice. I bought this chuck brand new. I have a brand new four jaw that goes with it, a faceplate, a dog plate. It has a taper attachment. It has the collet. It has a drawbar. It has everything on it, original, and it's in a condition that can be refurbished and really made like brand new if somebody had that in them. Anyway, we have a purchaser, and he's coming to pick it up tomorrow. And I've been working all day. I gave away several hundred pounds of steel that was in storage underneath my rollers and my finger brake and my shear, and I got this lowered down a couple inches, and I'm gonna have to see leaning this way here. I have an oil seal or something going on this thing, so I'm gonna be looking into that. And but this is getting closer to being down, and I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna rearrange this. Basically, if you took the square footage of this, we're talking a 12 by 18, 12 by 16, 12 by 16 I believe is what I measured. And I just haven't decided about that cabinet yet. I might actually have a little bit more. But the shaper, the lathe, my bench with my boxes on it, the shear, the roller, and the brake. And if I can get this in the most optimum place to run, the shaper in a good place to run, and the shear, the brake, and the roller in a so-so, always accessible. Not to really, I don't need to have it stick full sheets. I'm not doing jobs like that. But if I can go ahead and I can use them to roll rounds, bend some loops, some smaller projects, that's what I'm looking for. So getting this out of the way lets us have a little bit of that. And if I get creative positioning these machines, I can probably now make this section of the shop work. And that's why I'm kind of bringing you in with this little tag that, hey, we're moving this out, so you get to see how this all starts. Well, not actually, you didn't get to see me get down on my hands and knees and digging out steel and it being carried out and things like that. But anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Turn Right Machine Works, and my name is Keith. And what I'm going to take you through right now is I got to get this thing down to you, turn out the door, and rolling down the driveway. All right, I'm going to put it on a set of runners. These are just two 2x4s I've nailed together, tapered them, and I got some lag bolts, and I'm going to drill down. I'm going to lag that to it. I'm probably going to put a poppet in the middle so that when I'm rolling on rollers, there's no flex, you know, in the 2x4s on the sides, and we're going to get it going. Now, I've got one jack here, and I'm going to go ahead and just use that one jack, and I'm going to go ahead and get this run underneath front and back of this lathe from that end. All right, so I'll bring you in close and you can watch the progress and how I'm going to go about this. And moving and lifting machinery has been a big part of owning machinery my entire career, whether it be for myself or for big companies. Of course, bigger companies, you got bigger cranes, you got bigger forklifts, and you have things like the machinery rollers that I still use today. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jack it right up in the center here. And you notice that we're creating a gap here, so we're pivoting all the way back there. Now, you wouldn't want to set your machine like this for a periodic long term. You want it to be full faced, or you want these holes that are normally mounting holes for the lathe to either have a stud and sit on a round plate, or be anchored down. That's ideal for the machine. But anyway, I'm getting a gap in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up to where I create enough gap that I can go ahead and slide a couple blocks in it, like here and here. All right, and then we'll be able to let it down, and that'll come down, and then the back will have a gap, and I'll put a small wedge or sheet. I'll be hunting up some material as it's going, and then I'm going to put that in there, re-raise it, and then this gap will become greater, and then I'll go back and forth until I actually have enough height on this back to be able to slide this underneath. There's no sense in doing anything on the front here until I got that back raised up all the way, and then we'll be able to take this board and slide it in on each side, get it in position, and then we'll be able to drill a pilot hole and we'll be able to lag these down, and then from there we'll go to the next step. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'll just bring you in and out on the process, and from over there on the back side I'll give you a good view of all the way around how we'll go about this. Alright, so I'm going to jack this up until I get these two 2x4s in here. Okay, now we'll go ahead and we're going to lower her down, and then she'll tilt down on this side. She'll tilt down. See how it lifts the back? Okay, now it's lifted the back. Now we can go ahead and we're going to see if we can actually fit 2x4s underneath there. And I actually have a 2x4 and probably 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to I have some square 3/4 plywood laying around. I got one piece here. Oh, there's a couple halves, almost 3/4, and I'm going to go ahead and stick those in here. 3/4 fits on that side there, and I got these in on this side. All right. All right. Now we'll be able to go ahead and rejack this in, and we should be able to pick up 2x4 thickness up here in the front, which is almost the thickness that we're actually raising the thing up to put the skids. You know, you can always have one point of pick as long as you have the load spread between two positions on the rear foot. The same thing if you were to do the front and you had room to jack in the back. This just happens to be an easy spot. Now my new lathe, it has a different configuration as far as the stand underneath, and we'll have to do something different. Okay, I'm gonna go pick up some more 2x4s because I'm out of chunks laying around here. Okay, I got two cutoffs from actually making my runs, and I think they'll work here. All right. Actually, I can almost get another 1/2 inch in there. I think I'm going to go for another 1/2 inch because I can go ahead and just do this with one more move here, I think. Alright, I got a couple 3/4 here anyway. There's one, and there's one. Alright, bring it up just a little bit more. Alright, there we go. Okay, there and there. Okay, we'll let her back down slowly. Okay, we won't have to go all the way down. I can already see we got a good height back here. Okay, I'm gonna go get 2 4x4s, which will fit in there, and I'll put those same pieces in there, but we're gonna go inward a little bit. Let me get geared up and we'll come back. Okay, I got 2 4x4s here. Well, equal to 4x4s. One's actually like a 4x6. Okay, we're gonna put this one over here. Now, I'm gonna want this run to be underneath on both sides here. So I'm actually going to come somewhat in a little bit so that my run, because I want that run to be about like that. So I'm just kind of staring down. I want to make sure that my block is inside, because from this point on we'll be able to mount our rails as soon as we get support back at this point here. We can do that. Alright, and then we can do that. Now I'm gonna look over here, just making sure that okay. Alright, now I'm going to slide the other run underneath here somewhat. We're on a narrow here, so I'm just trying to keep, I want to keep a safe support on this end here. Alrighty, I'm going to bring you around to the other side here after we start making contact with that end. Okay, and I'm coming back here because I want to physically feel it's there. I'm giving the machine a little bit of rock. I'm on a wooden floor here, remember, but there is a very strong support right underneath here. This is all fresh plywood laid over crappy floor that I've patched. Now you can see that we're not quite high enough here, but I need to come off of the boards inside. All right, and this is where, you know, you want it to be as stable as possible. I just kind of move these in here because I know I'm loose on these forward ones here, so I can come in here and now this is wider than the base here, so these runs are going to be slightly angled. All right, I'm not trying to catch them or make them straight. I want to support the base at using the same layout it is. All right, bring all of this in here for right now, and I get about 2 inches hanging out there. About the same thing here. All right, I like that hole right there. Like that. That looks good. Okay. That looks good. That looks good. How about the length on that side? That looks good. That looks good. Alright. I'm going to lower it down to where I have the pressure on the front here. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go get my drill and my lags, and we're going to go ahead and sink those in right there. Alright, we're putting in like 3/8 lags. It's got like a 1/2 inch hole here. I didn't want to, it was what I had at the hardware store, and I know it's going to be more than adequate enough. Drilling a pilot hole for a lag makes the lag a much better grip, because you don't tend to split out the wood. Nice tight fit. Alright, we'll go over and we'll do the other side. Okay, now I'm going to just make sure that I'm kicked in on each side. Looks like I am maybe a little bit more on this back side over here. Right there. There we go. Okay. Okay, we're free here. We're hard on these still. All right, so I'm going to come up on these and I'm going to get back something in the front here so that I can pull those back out and then jack it back up to put tension on that. All right. Just a little bit more and we can get those in there. Okay, down just a little bit. Okay, let me feel these. Okay, let me pull these out. All right. All right, they're set. They're even on the backs. I like that. Now I'm going to jack these back up. And you can see the support coming up to almost coming square. All right, it's just starting to pivot, just starting to pick that up. Now I'm going to I want to double check before. I don't have another set of eyes to come back here, so I have to be the eyes for every part of the move. And I like that. We're loose, but not quite. Lowering it down. Okay, all we gotta do is put those lags in the back, but we're on the run. And that's how you take the jack on one end of a lathe and get your support under all of it. All right, I'm gonna have to open the door to drill that hole. I can see that already. And in the back one, I just gotta hold the electric line out of the way. All right, so let's go ahead and sink into one that you can see, and then we'll get around to the back and do that one. All right. All right, one more in the back. Okay, I went ahead and cut about 22 and about a 24-inch piece of 2x4 so that I can bridge this area right in here. I think for how short the span is, I'm not going to have any problem with the amount of weight on here. When we jack this up and we put rollers underneath, we'll see if we're having a flexing problem with the center of these, and then I will put one across the middle and we'll put something up at the pan here. But we want to see if it handles on its own. For right now, what I got is pilot drill, and then I have some 1/4-inch lags, that we're gonna put in here. And we'll put one over here. We're going to crisscross them on each side here. It gives us some anti-twist, or it may be overkill, which I have been guilty of, and I have no problem with that kind of guilt. Alright, we'll do the same back here. Gotta love these little electric impacts, because even if you can't get right on top of them, they get it done. Alright, let's go find some rollers and we'll lift this thing up and we'll get this thing rolling. Alright, I went back there in my shelter and I had these 2-foot drops of Schedule 80 aluminum pipe. It's a 1-inch 50 thousandths is the OD on 3/4 pipe. And these are bare minimum that I would say to use. Something you really like to have 3-4 inches sticking out of each side, because sometimes you're going to want to kick them so they line up and everything else. But right now I'm just getting ready to roll this in a straight line, and I have some other material and I'll go ahead and I'll cut some to really do the rest of the maneuvering. But I want to display up on rollers and how easy it is for one person to actually move the machine around. Alright. Now it's not all about just getting one roller underneath all of a sudden and then you start rolling. It is best to go ahead and get it up high enough so you're not fighting yourself. Get one back as far as you can. It's sticking on that side there, and I'm just going to feel I'm not quite out the same there. Okay, a little bit sticking out each side. Alright, we're about we're 22 at the width of that board and we're 24 here, so these things are just about the width of the front, and they'll stick out a little bit on the back. Alright, we're at the leading edge of the base at the headstock there, and now we can put one about right there, and it'll probably come down, level out, and almost be ready to roll just with 2 rollers underneath it. Alright, so now what I do is go ahead and we'll move the jack out of the way. And to start a roll, another roller, sometimes you're low, like this is all plywood here, so we have a little bit of rock and roll here, and we'll get one in here. Now I'm going to get behind and I'm going to start pushing, and as I'm pushing and rolling, you got to pay attention to your rollers, where you're at, what you're coming up against, where you want to start your next roller. Alright, and then when you get it to where one popping out the back, you hope you're in time there. This is 4 rollers here. Sometimes I use 6 or so, and sometimes they get bunched up in the middle. Sometimes you even have to get underneath there, jack it up, and get yourself squared away. All right, so we're gonna start rolling it on out the door here. All right, see this one here skipped out, where we popped this. This one here popped out the back, but also too we have one here that's loose. Okay, now we have 2 rollers under here again. Okay, now that you're back to where I was at, when I pulled out a roller right now, this roller here was the one I said we were dead. All right, this popped out of the back. We rolled up. We're sitting on hard on that one. We're sitting hard on that. So we're under even on the floor here. All right, so I was going to pull this one out because the position of this, I know that one's going to leave it out, and it might be wise to leave this one right in here. The reason why I'm saying is the distance between here and here, where the balance point is, and this one here to here popping out, and I can go ahead and I get this one in on the front. Now, sometimes you might have to just give it a little bit of a head start there. All right, and remember what I said, pay attention to where the top, everything is at. Okay, you can see I got one popped out, and then I got, because it was off slope here, and one was grabbing and one was rolling here, I got 2 of them that are about 6 inches apart at this point. They are pretty equal to the project, but we're gonna have to start swinging the front end of that lathe over. We're gonna be playing around. I have some things over at the door that I'm gonna get moving out of the way in the morning, and we'll be able to go from there. I'm ready to jack up the front and reposition some rollers. I do want some wider ones. Okay, sometimes when they're a little bit longer, and you can take a bar in here and you'll be able to scoot over. Sometimes you scoot on the rods, but sometimes the rods scoot that way. So by having your rods longer on either side, sometimes you got a chance to go ahead and scoot one way or the other way without worrying about falling off your pipes. And that's what's important about having a little bit more sticking out on each side. All right, so you can see we're almost out the door here, and we've got a nice vacant spot over there already. That's as dangerous as a flat spot, right? All right, until next time, get her done.